Oh, sure, you've seen Sean Connery before, but have you seen Sean Connery in space? Welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast. Welcome back. Good evening. For Half-Ass Movie Podcast. We're half-ass people who choose to watch movies. My name is Adam Porters, and this is Sean Love Spaceships Month. And joining me today, his hairpiece is way better than Connery's. Sweet Sean's a Kovacs from the internet.
Ain't no hairpiece, man. All natural.
And he's just stoked that there's still French fries in the future. Bruce Leslie.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
You're welcome, Bruce. Thank you for everybody for showing up, because this is the last week of Sean Love Spaceship September. And this week, it falls on the heads of Sweet Sean Kovacs himself. Shawnee, what have you dug up for us this week?
It is a movie called Outland. I described it last week as a movie that is basically High Noon in space. And that it is definitely that. Another way to describe it is it's sort of like the movie Alien, but there's no alien in it, and there's way, way more man ass in it. So if either one of those things is something that you want to get into, then you're in luck, because there's a movie called Outland from 1981 starring Sir Sean Connery. And I think that this is a weird moment in time for Sean Connery, because he's kind of off the grid right now. It had been 10 years since he last played Bond in a movie, right? Because he was James Bond in Diamonds Are Forever. But after this movie, he's about to blow it out again, because he does this movie, which isn't successul. It's not even a hit. It's like it makes its money back, and that's it. Let's move on. But after this movie, then he's in Time Bandits, and then he goes on and he plays James Bond again in Never Say Never Again, and then he's off to the races. Once he plays Bond that next time, where it's not actually James Bond, they never used the name James Bond, but it's so clearly James. Actually, I think they do say James Bond. They never call him 007.
007
right?
is the bit that they can't use, yeah.
Right. And so after that movie, then Sean Connery's off to the races. Like, he is a superstar forever after that, because his career was starting to lag a little bit. And so to see him in this movie, he's not Sean Connery at the height of his power, which makes it really interesting, because he is still bloody Sean Connery. When he's on screen, he just soaks up all of the eyeballs, because he's so interesting to look at.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he's the kind of guy that knew who he was before the rest of the world figured it out. I mean, he could have made this 10 years later after that upward trajectory you just mentioned, and I think it's still relatively the same performance, the same kind of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And movies written and directed by Peter Hyams, who we've spoken about before, right? Or maybe we just talked about him last week. Get ready for this. This is his biography here. He directed the movie 2010, the sequel to 2001. And 2010 is one of those movies where people like me are like, that movie's pretty good. It's not 2001. Clearly, nothing could be, nothing will be. And that's where it makes its mistake, is that it's a sequel to the movie 2001. If it was just its own space movie, it would be totally fine. But, a couple of rewrites on it and you have your own space movie, it's a good movie. It's just not 2001.
Arthur C. Clarke is in the sequel business, damn it.
So you've got that. Then he directs Running Scared, The Presidio, the movie Stay Tuned with John Ritter. That movie, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Time Cop, Sudden Death, and The Relic. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that went from like 80s, the most 80s movies ever to the most 90s movies ever. It's Peter Hyams.
You mentioned Time Cop there, and I just got to say that yesterday I was watching a wrestling match on streaming, and as an insult to a tag team, one of the commentators said, "These guys think that Time Cop's an excellent movie." That was how he got heat for those guys.
Seems rather mean.
And there's a weird thing that happens with Peter Hyams, because for a lot of movies, he's his own cinematographer. So he's basically a one-stop shop for a while where you need a writer, director, cinematographer. He's your guy. But after 2001, that stops happening. Or I'm sorry, after 2010, that stops happening. And you know why? It's like
yeah.
Sir, who do you think you are? Do you have a severe cognitive learning disability? Why did you do this?
But I'm Stanley Kubrick. You know it's to be true.
But I'm sure his house is bigger than mine. His house is bigger than all of us.
We'll get into all of it. Let me hit a couple of plugs here and stuff out of the way, but we're talking about Outland today, so we're going to have a whole boatload of stuff here to talk about because again, like Bruce said, I don't think that this is a movie that a lot of people have seen, so it's going to be interesting to talk about that. Hopefully, we'll get a couple of folks interested in seeing what we got here. But before we do that, we want to remind people that this here is a live program over on YouTube Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Why don't you join us out there at YouTube and say hi, give us a big old thumbs up here and everything. And there is a brand new thing on the game, everybody. It is called the YouTube hype button. Hit that YouTube hype button. That's only for like smaller channels that don't have a boatload of subscribers and stuff yet, but that tells people that you want this thing to be spread to other folks as well. It don't cost you nothing. So go hit that hype button if you want to see HMP get even a little bit bigger than we already are.
Stick it to the man. Stick it to the man and hype us up.
I want to get to the point where I don't have to, hit that button anymore because we've gone beyond that. And we can only do that stuff with you guys by hitting that like and subscribe button and all those good things. We got so many more things coming in the month of October, and we'll talk a little bit about some of that here at the end of this show. But we want to thank all of you guys for hanging out here all of these months and everything. We've like we said, this is subscription. What do I call it? September. And we've had over 600 new subscribers in the month of September alone.
Dang,
here on
good
YouTube.
jobs, Dirty Babies.
Last week it was 500. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're growing by bits and bits over here and everything. And again, it's because of you guys. It's because of that hitting the like, subscribe, comments, and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, if you really, really love us, drop one of these Fortress Bucks. Yeah, that's over there. That's a super chat or whatever. Or maybe if you want to be one of the great Dirty Babies and join us over at patreon.com/HMP. Those awesome people get pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. There's a whole list of these Patreon babies here on the YouTube. If you're watching, here you got all their lovely names. And you'll be seeing those on the ends of videos and stuff coming soon and whatnot because you guys deserve it because you help keep this program a-chugging. And I've got more exciting announcements coming all in the month of October. We're working with other companies and stuff now. We got some things cooking in the basement, boys. It's going to be a good one. And we want all of you guys to be a part of that. Patreon.com/HMP or just, like I said, like, subscribe, do all these fun things on the YouTube channel. That's where we really appreciate you. Love you so much there. And that's it. Get on that hype train, everybody. And let's get into it, fellas. Let's talk about I'm sorry, Dinger Zone. Dinger Zone this week. We're talking about Sean Connery and Outland this week. So our Dinger Zone this week, that will be after on the live stream here, and then of course on Dinger Zone, on the Dinger Zone on patreon.com/HMP. We'll be talking our bottom 5 Sean Connery films. So we decided to go the opposite direction. Instead of the top, we wanted to do the bottom 5 Sean Connery films because I think Sean said it best. We all love Sean Connery, but let's be honest, the man has made a couple stinkers.
A lot more than you think too. When you look at his filmography, you're like, oh wow, he really did not choose well. It literally was like paychecks for him for a lot of this.
And I think there's a lot of areas that people will look at and go, like, when you look at his filmography and you go, oh, I didn't go see this because it kind of looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the wide selection of stinkers, I still feel like we're going to have a lot of overlap. So I can't wait till we record it.
I don't know about all that. That should. I think you might be a little bit sharper.
I bet you Portress already knows my number 1.
Oh, I know you're number 1 already. I just knew this was a fish in the barrel because it's like we changed things up, and he wanted to get away from it being my number 1 so he could put it to his number 1. I know your game, sweet Sean.
You got it. You got me dead to rights, Portress.
I've been playing this game for quite some time. So patreon.com/HMP. We love all of you guys. Let's do this here. Here's the IMDb plot line for Outland. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. A federal marshal stationed at a mining colony on the Jupiter moon of Io uncovers a drug smuggling conspiracy. He gets no help from the workers or authorities when he finds himself marked for murder. This, as Sean said, is written and directed by Peter Hyams, who I want to mention did Busting with Elliot Gould and Robert Blake, which, by the way, you should check out. That movie's pretty fucking good.
I haven't seen that.
Sounds awesome. I'm sold.
Robert Blake's actually pretty awesome in that movie.
It's called Bustin'.
Bustin'. That's right.
Like with the apostrophe after the N, no G.
I don't know if there's an apostrophe. I can't remember.
Okay.
But it's definitely Bustin' and not Busting for sure. Or, no, it is Busting. I think it's Busting.
Never mind. I'm not watching it.
I mean, you've got the information at your fingertips if you want to look it up.
Listen, he can do it. I got too many things.
Me too.
You overestimate my abilities.
Well, that's also very true. Like he said, after Outland, Peter would do 2010, the year we made contact, Time Cop, Sudden Death, Time Cop and Sudden Death, both with Van Damme, The Relic, and End of Days. We forgot to mention that one with everyone's favorite religious character, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's true.
This is starring Peter Boyle, Sean Connery. I put Peter Boyle first just because I like the idea that first. Top build. Francis Sternhagen and John Ratzenberger. God, it just screams space, doesn't it? Sean, explain yourself.
Okay. So this movie is one of those movies that fell through the cracks, right? 1981. We're at the height of let's make a Star Wars ourselves, right?
Yeah.
The issue here is that it is paced for adults, this movie. So no child would watch this movie and be like, this is my favorite movie. It would never happen.
No.
Basically, at the beginning of this film, it tells you what you're about to watch, because for about 4 minutes, you don't see humans at all. There's no human beings in the movie.
The first time I tried to watch this movie was Bad News. It was years ago. Mm-hmm. And you do start, if you're looking, you throw in Outland and you're just like, look at this, man. Sean Connery's on here in the security guard outfit with a shotgun and it's in space. You're like, shit, yeah, I'm on board with this. You throw it in and it's a minute to get going. All right. Yeah. It's not literally Star Wars and Alien and banging away at you. It is, well, Alien's a little bit slower, but it's not Aliens. Let's put it to you that way. Right. It's a little slower. It's a little more monotonous. And if you're not ready for that, even the score, while it's there and everything, is still very low key throughout the beginning and stuff. So if you're not ready, you could lull yourself to sleep real fast, but you got to pay attention to what's going on. And thankfully they put enough, at least text on the screen to keep you occupied to just go, oh, all right. Okay, cool. I get enough backstory with this that I understand at least where we are.
And I think it's paced just fine considering it's still like in the sphere of influence temporally from Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So you expect it to be a little slower paced.
Can I talk about that for half a second? I don't know if this is on your agenda at all, Sean. But this is put out by the Ladd Company. And the Ladd Company is Alan Ladd Jr., who really is responsible for some of the best stuff in the entire world, including the aforementioned Blade Runner and, Star Wars to a small extent. He kind of helped along with that. And so many other Alien, of course. The man has helped put some amazing sci-fi out there, of which he admits he knows nothing about. He is just somebody that says, hey, I trust this guy or this person. I think that, they're in charge of this and I believe in them. Here's some money, guys, go at it. So he's really kind of the crux of all of this, I think.
He's an old school movie producer. And the way that I would use an example is Frank Zappa used to say, like in his autobiography, he said, yes, music producers used to be the big fat guy, bald guy chomping on a cigar. And everyone hated that guy. But the thing about that guy is that he would take chances on music that he didn't understand because he was like, I don't know, maybe the kids will love this thing. And so you release music in the 60s and 70s that's just like, I don't understand this, but maybe someone else will. The problem that starts happening in the music industry is the same problem that happens in the movie industry later, which is that what you start getting music producers who think that they know what kids want when they don't actually have any idea what kids want because they're in their 40s and they're like, I think I understand how kids think. And that's what
You
happened.
understand how you thought as a child, but you think
Right.
that will now apply to modern day child, and that does not.
And that's
I
what
think
happens with the movie industry as well, is that you start getting these guys, these coked out like nut jobs who are like, listen, I know what's cool and I know what's funny and I know what everybody wants to see. And that is really where you get a lot of the same stuff start happening in the 80s all the way to where we are right now.
Little did everyone know they were exactly right in the 80s. Because man, all those I'm so glad that cocaine was in Hollywood in the 80s, because there's no other way some of these movies that I love, because they're so absurd, whatever get made.
But you get both things. You get the producer like an Alan Ladd Jr. who doesn't really understand this stuff, but is like, I don't know, maybe this is great. And then you have the people who are like, man, I can't even remember his name now. The guy who's the kid who stays in the picture. What's his name? Fortress
Evans.
Bob Evans.
Robert, yeah. Not to be confused with the restaurateur Bob Evans.
Thank you, Bruce, for clarifying that.
I live near Gallipolis,
so the man, I totally forgot what I was going to say. So, but it was, Bob. Then you get like the Robert Evanses of the world, who he thinks he knows what everybody wants to watch,
and he gets lucky a couple enough times to where like he can kind of live on that a little bit and be like, I am right. He's not always right, but he's right just enough to where he can always kind of claim, listen, I'm always right, even though he ain't.
And well, it is Robert Evans, so you would have to ask a question that you then answer, because that's how Robert Evans speaks. So he's like, did I have a lot of hits in the 80s? You bet I did. Would I do it all over again? I sure would. That is literally the way that guy speaks.
Interview yourself.
Oh, sure. Man. What's the name of that kind of creepy boy band producer that got the problem? You know, when people start to fancy themselves as tastemakers, instead of like finding what the public wants and providing it, they're like, well, I'm going to provide something and convince the public they want it, because he just kept putting these same boy bands together over and over again.
Next thing you know, 5 years later, he's releasing this new band called O-Town. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I'm going to start here, if we're all cool with that.
Let's go.
Oh, so can I just make a little opening statement? Because this movie, totally in my blind spot. I was not familiar with it at all. Didn't even know that it existed when you recommended it. I struggled to remember the name of it. Watched it, and it's great. And this is the reason we do the podcast, to find some of these beautiful things. But the most surreal experience is when I started it and realized that I had seen at least part of this movie before, when I was less than 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
But I made it to the part where the guy like pulls the hole in his spacesuit and his head explodes. And I was like, I'm out of here. But yeah, but that did burn a memory into my head. I always wondered what that movie was, because for a long time I thought the guy in Scanners was in a spacesuit, you know?
Right.
Oh, and I got one quick thing to where, like, I just kept watching this going. This is Alien meets I should have written it down. Alien meets 2001, because he clearly wants to kind of rewrite 2001. There's a lot of styling and everything that comes from Alien, but there's a weird like mystery, maybe not as sexy, but there's a little Brian De Palma in here as well, where we've got a mystery. We're trying to figure some stuff out. It's not as sexy as De Palma, but it feels like there's a sprinkling of that in there.
It's almost like that Farrah Fawcett space movie, Saturn V. Is that what it's called?
That's the name of it.
And Sean, you know that S.A. Corey is two guys, right? That write the Expanse novels. They're two guys that work together, right?
I did not know that. I had no idea those were two. Of course, it makes sense, because they were blasting it out for like, oh, there's another one of these coming out.
And I bet you if you talked with them and they were honest, at least one of them had to be a pretty big fan of this movie, because man, Thomas Jane and Sean Connery doing a lot of the same stuff.
It's true.
All right, let's kick it off.
All right, buckle your seatbelts, boys. Here we go. So we immediately start with an explanation of where we are, and you get to see some awesome rear screen projection and matte paintings of Jupiter and Io, and you got the cool DOS green 80s style computer font. And where we are is the third moon of Jupiter, Io. We get some facts like the space station closest to Io is very far away. and a shuttle comes by once a week, which is basically the movie telling us right away that if shit goes wrong, these jerks are on their own, and that Io has 1/6 of Earth's gravity. And I'm going to stop there for a second, because that doesn't really ever come up when you're inside of the space station. It's only when you're outside of the space station.
A little strange.
There's nothing spinning. There's no fake gravity. I guess there's just a big old fake gravity button.
At least, there's like, you know, and we'll get into it. I'm sure, but at least there's a sequence of weightlessness, and kind of like their prison is weightless, which is kind of a weird little thing. We'll get into it, but like other than that, no, you don't see any. They don't even attempt really any like, oh, here's a floating pin trick like in 2001. There's none of that. They're just like, nah, hell. They just trust us. Shut up. So we afterwards, after we shot all this crap, so we don't really, you know, we made that up in post. What are you talking about?
So we then cut to a shot of a miniature model of a moon base. And if it's been a long time since you've seen something like this, it's going to make you miss the way that movies used to be made. It's awesome. The miniature looks sort of like an oil derrick. And we learned that this is a mining operation called Con-Am 27. There's over 2,000 people who live here, and they're drilling for titanium, which is a way better way of getting titanium than the way we actually get it right now. We get 4 minutes into the movie before we see any people, but those people, they're mining. A couple guys complaining about working conditions. One guy starts flipping out all of a sudden, saying there's a spider in his suit, pulls his airline, depressurizing his suit, and that sucker, he explodes. Falls into a deep, dark cavern, making the guys he's working with, one of which I believe is actually Cliff Clavin himself. And he says something.
The problem with your spider suits is, you know, they get around there and they start tickling you. At first, it seems like it's fun, then it starts to hurt.
The problem there, Nami, is you don't have actual spiders. Your brain isn't working no more.
You see, spiders are terrestrial species. They don't live on Jovian moons.
Yeah, that's like no one ever asked a question. Like, and I guess he does to a degree. Just like spiders, what the hell are you talking about? We're in space. This is some bullshit. Just shut up. I love how, but like at the same time too, it is very much a dude reaction of just like, what are you even doing? Listen, it's Gary. He's at it again. What are you gonna let him have at it? Yeah, spiders in your. Oh Jesus, he took it too far this time.
So we then cut to someone's personal quarters where a boy who has the same haircut as Elliot from E.T., only, and this is very important, not nearly as cute, is sitting talking to his mom. He's complaining about his braces. And I mean this full-throated. He's probably the worst child actor ever committed to film.
He's up there. For a movie that of this status, with this cast and crew and everything involved in this, there are Oscar winners that worked on this film previously. So you know what I'm saying? This kid is, he's abundantly bad.
He is here. Sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
I'm sitting here watching this kid, and I'm thinking in my head that the marshal's already done the math, because there is no way that there is one smidgen of Sean Connery's DNA in this kid. Like, this kid's milquetoast, man.
This woman's been getting around, that's for sure.
When I get off of this rock, remind me to smack your mama in the face. There's no way you were produced from my loins.
What an embarrassment.
Why aren't you a strapping young lad like Miss Moneypenny's sons?
Get ready for this one. So I looked this kid up because I was like, this has got to be his only thing, right? No. Dude worked until 2016. Got constant work until 2016. And if that isn't enough, this movie isn't even his first acting gig. It's like his third.
We saw him in this other thing and we were like, that's the one. Bring him in.
I couldn't believe it, because the acting performance in this child is so unbelievably bad that it's almost like I literally thought to myself, this has got to be one of the producer's kids. Like, there's no way you hired this kid from a casting call. There's no way.
And it's like, what? Like, did you have like 3 hours with him total?
Right.
And we're just like, we got one take to do this, and this kid, like, for whatever reason, he's ungodly expensive.
The studio's just trying to
Gotta get him in
burn
and
through.
get him out one time.
The studio's trying to burn through his multi-picture deal as quick as they can and cut him loose.
That's the problem. Is he's so
Right.
damn good. So we got to get him through several pictures in order just to pay him out.
He's got the world's best agent, so like they're like the studio's like, Jesus, we still gotta get. He's got like 10 more movies. He's got.
I told you I could get that kid top dollar.
He's got, you do the behind-the-scenes research. He has the same agent as Peter Boyle, so you can't get Boyle unless you cast this kid. He's in Young Frankenstein.
So just when I'm ready to cut my wrist because this kid's acting is so bad, who should show up looking great with his 30% hairpiece on? None other than Sean Connery, looking great.
Yeah. This is the level that you kind of want him at here and everything, where it's like he's letting us know that, like, listen, I'm getting a little bit older. We're gonna get a little bit here, but like I still gotta kind of look like Sean Connery, and he still does. He's still got the magnetism. He's still there. It is the perfect wig for him at this point. It's like it's exactly what it's supposed to be, and it matches his natural hair color and all that. It looks great.
It's pretty great for when you consider, you've got Bert working at this time, who has the worst rug ever in 1981. He's got, he has the
rough.
He has the worst toupee in all of Hollywood, basically. So Sean Connery is playing Marshal William T. O'Neill, but we're never going to use that name again because all you're going to think about when you watch the movie is it's Sean Connery playing a space sheriff. Like, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, if you're not James Bond, you're Sean Connery. Shut up. Like those are the two options we have for you.
Yes. So Connery enters the scene where you got the world's shittiest child actor on the screen, and as he enters the scene, he immediately threatens his son with physical violence, and it's supposed to be in a playful way, but we already know what we know about Sean Connery.
Yeah.
So it comes off very weird.
Or very appropriate. Just like, listen, I want this kid to understand that, like, I'm already seeing where this ship is sailing, and I ain't down for it. So watch it, or I'll smack you the other direction if you get my drift.
But to clarify, only with an open hand.
Oh yeah. He's not a monster.
So then after that occurs, and you're a little weirded out because it just, the line hits weird because it's Sean Connery. He then, very forward thinking of this movie, he checks his email, which for 1981, it's got to be the first time you see it in a major motion picture that someone's looking at their email.
It looks pretty good.
It does.
That's
not too bad.
One of the best things they did at predicting the future. I mean, one problem with making a movie set in the future is you still, to some degree, are limited by your own technology, and it always shows up in movies in this time period in those CRT monitors that they have. Mm-hmm. Other than, Gene Roddenberry's original Star Trek was smart enough to just blue screen the whole thing because they knew that tube TVs would look dated in their own way. But yeah, that's the one part I would have been better if they went more with just email. Like, that's part of the secret with Star Wars is when they use something, instead of they're trying to communicate like this is the bare minimum output so it can go the furthest distance. So then they've got an excuse for, like, that sounds like you're talking through a Taco Bell drive-through in the comms, right. And their monitors, you just barely, I don't know, it almost looks like you're watching the old radar screens on a submarine or something. It's like the green and white two-tone, not even black and gray.
Right.
Yeah, so when they throw in the cathode ray tube TV and they're doing like the Zoom meeting basically, which, all these movies nailed that, but I just think that whole communication would have been better as an email.
I also love this with all the video voicemails and stuff like that. Just clearly out of 2001. It's like it's almost verbatim. It's bad.
I mean, it kind of wears its influences on its sleeve. This movie.
Oh yeah, it does not. It doesn't take too long to hide them.
And
no,
it's
right.
It's chosen such a wonderful playground, though, particularly in 1981, because you still got pretty good living memory of a lot of these classic Westerns. They're only 30 years in the past or what have you, or less. Yeah. And then on top of that, you've got all of the sort of revolutionary sci-fi that we've already name dropped. Things like Alien. I would say even with the remote location, you could say there's a tiny touch of the thing here, you know, that feeling of isolation and nobody's coming to help you. So in addition to all the Western tropes you can steal, you got all these science fiction tropes you can steal, putting together a beautiful pastiche. I mean, that's what we were doing in 1981, Sean. When we were kids, we would take our Star Trek, Star Wars, and King Kong toys and all play together. So it's kind of a nice little sandbox that they built here, because there's more than just high noon and the Western tropes, I'd say.
Yeah.
And the thing that really kind of like that keeps this movie working as well as it does is, and again, like you said, Bruce, this is not a movie that like comes up on people's radars a whole bunch, but man, oh man, the production design in this movie is spectacular.
We'll get to that. We're going to get to
looks so good, and like everything's designed so amazingly well to like when we're moving from place to place, they really thought this thing out, and it really shows.
Yeah, it does. So from his email, so man, we have got so long to go, and we're already 30 minutes in. So from his email, Sean Connery learns of the dead guy from the first scene that we just saw. Space cops think he killed himself due to space madness, but they can't do an autopsy because the guy was goo. He ended up being goo.
Yeah.
So Connery starts leaving for work, and you can tell pretty quickly that something's up with his wife. You know, like there's something weird going on with his wife. She's making pissy face at him and keeps looking away every time he says something to her. Like she's in an antebellum era chamber drama that is totally happening in this one scene.
My darling.
Where it's one of those things again, where it's like, is this the director telling the actress to do this? Or is this just the actress going, I think that this is what this scene needs. And you never really know. So we see the rest of the moon base as Connery's walking through. It's packed with people, sweaty, everyone's smoking. And this is the moment that I realized that, oh, this movie is not influenced by Star Wars at all. It's influenced by Westerns, and it's influenced by Alien. And not in plot, but like you were saying, in tone, mood, production design, all of these things. It's way more like the first Alien movie than anything else, right?
Yeah. Alien 2001 just are pretty much going neck and neck for which we're trying to kind of,
which is kind of great, because you don't get a lot of that, you know, like where your influences are literally no Star Wars at all. That's pretty cool especially for 1981.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you're even on the heels of Empire here at this point, so like
it's the same year, right?
So it feels like you would be bound to try to do more Star Wars kind of things.
80,
for sure.
Right?
80, yeah, the year before was Empire.
So we then cut to a scene where Connery is at a morning meeting, and where like he's just at like this ugly ass, like it looks like a 70s like warehouse. It's just it's so ugly. It's great actually. And he says he needs to get to know everybody. And this is where we first meet Peter Boyle. And he and Connery immediately don't see things eye to eye. In fact, I would go so far as to say it's frosty.
Oh, a little bit.
So we cut to the routine of watching people get ready for a day of mining.
Real fast, I just a quick thing.
Yeah.
They make mention in the story, like just previous with his wife and everything, of like how they've been here 2 weeks, which by the way, she's getting real bitchy for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? You're here for a week and 2 weeks in, and you're just like, I can't stand it anymore. Lady, it's 2 weeks out of a year's stint here. At least let us get a couple of months in before you start going stir crazy.
And you know what you signed up for. You know, when you met him, it wasn't like he was the sheriff of New York. I mean, he's going to be in these outer region territories, right?
Yeah. And so they mentioned that they've been there for 2 weeks. And then we go to our next scene here. How is it? This is like first day introductions. Why are they 2 weeks in and he's now just introducing himself to the gang, going like, well, I hope to work along. But bitch, you've been here for 2 years. What have you been doing? Watching all the training manuals or something?
He had that space blindness like Han Solo. Had been frozen. Remember, they freeze you for a year when you fly.
But isn't there that line that you're in isolation to make sure that you're not going to contaminate the rest of it? Isn't there's a line like that?
Maybe
that is that is a standard quarantine period for most infectious disease, 14 days. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, well, fair enough then. Okay. Well, then
Like if you take your dog to
guess what?
Hawaii, I
And
think
guess
they
what? She
locked
was
up.
just locked in. She was just locked in the booth for like 2 weeks to decompress or whatever and get better. And now she's out and about, and she's just like, I got to split. Like, wait a minute. Now you can walk about the cabin. What are you mad about? Oh,
Come on, you get there and the accommodations aren't what you expected. It's like an Airbnb. You're like, yeah, we'll just go to a hotel.
we go on to find out they done did this 3-4 times before. It's like Sean said, you know what you were getting into. Why did you come here?
Yeah.
To turn right around. I don't know.
You knew what this was. So I want to talk about this next scene where you're watching people get ready for work, because this sort of scene these days, you only get it when people are about to gear up to get into a big fight, like they're putting rifles together and shit. This is people just working, like checking their hoses and putting on their helmets and stuff. And you used to get scenes like this all the time in movies, but because things have to be way faster paced now, it only happens when people are putting rattle gear on, right? And so to have this scene, I was like, ooh, that's the stuff, boy. It really does set the mood for what you're watching. And I hate that we've lost this, because it's information. It's letting you know this is how careful you have to be to work in this environment. It's really great.
I think
they lay it all out, and they show you in story form what kind of some of the rules are and stuff like that, of like, hey, these are the procedures and stuff that they go through. And for the most part, they go back and will always kind of pay off all the things that they previously set up.
And so when we get to, I'm sorry, Bruce, go ahead.
I was just going to say that the whole thing was really relatable for me. My brother, myself, my cousins, we're the first generation of our family not to be coal miners. You know, my dad's generation, my grandpa's, and then it all started around my great grandpa's. So like in 1981, when we're all kids, we're kind of used to seeing this kind of gear up sometimes. We just lived in a little bottom just down from the coal mine ourselves. So yeah, it did bring back some memories there in a kind of cool way, because they do look like spacesuits and stuff that the coal miners are using.
So we're in the airlock, and this dude walks into the airlock, and he doesn't look quite right. And he doesn't have a suit on, and he's got this smile on his face where he's got dead eyes. It's almost like he took the Joker gas.
Yeah.
And he looks like someone who is religious crazy, like not just normal crazy, but like it's like angels speak to him.
Yeah, I've got to complete my mission here, and I've got this kind of dead set eye look on my face of like, now I must accomplish, my ultimate goal or something like that.
Right. He's there for a higher purpose.
Kind of like
and he's
Reggie Jackson
in the eye while he's doing it too, which is the creepy part.
Yeah.
Kind of like Reggie Jackson in the third act of The Naked Gun.
Oh, exactly.
Yep. So the dude explodes. And now we're 17 minutes in. We got 2 strange suicides. And I may be jumping the gun here, but I believe we got ourselves a space mystery, boys. So Connery comes home from a long day of space copping in the house. It's dark. Nobody's home. Turns out, wife fed up. She done skedaddled, took the world's worst child actor with her, good riddance. And in a pre-recorded video, she tells him that she's amscraying back to Earth. And I thought we might get some good old-fashioned Connery rage here. No such luck. We get sullen, brooding, quiet storm, kind of Sean Connery. Not going to lie. It's a bummer.
I thought when like she mentioned, and I took the kid with me, I was like, oh, thank Christ. She'd have left me with him. That would just been a real bummer to the rest of this thing. Like, I'm already mad that I got to solve this mystery, but if this little asshole was around here, I can't take it.
What if he had said, hey, now how about this idea? We send the little bastard back, and me and you just stay up here.
No, she don't want to be there.
She doesn't. She's gonna be complaining all the time.
The bonus is that you got rid of the kid. That's just a little icing on top of the cake.
Yeah.
She leaves, the new secretary gets here.
So
new secretary looks like Peter Boyle, though.
It's not like the wife was that much better than Peter Boyle.
Hey, that lady was far better than Peter Boyle. Come on, I'm not.
Guys, I will not stand for besmirchery.
40 minutes into this, and we got so much more movie to go. This is going to be 3.5 hours long, guys.
Minute 10.
Pray continue.
Literally, I just said we're 17 minutes in. So Connery learns at the next morning meeting that it looks like another guy committed suicide on the moon base, and you know what? He thinks something's fishy. So he goes and talks to Francis Sternhagen, who's the moon base's ornery doctor. He's talking to her about suicides. He wants some answers. He asks her about autopsies and how often people are committing suicide. But Frances Sternhagen, she doesn't have time for his malarkey. She's busy. And so if you're Sean Connery, what do? Well, you threaten to kick her ass. And that's exactly what he does. He actually says the line, and I'm quoting here, I want to know how many suicides have happened over the last 6 months quickly, or I may have to kick your ass all over this room. He says he's joking later. He isn't, because he's Sean Connery. And again, exactly. It hits super weird, this line, especially when you know Sean Connery behind the scenes.
Let me ask you a question now. Did it work?
It sure did. It sure did.
Nippy at work.
Might makes right, Portress?
Well, it does if you're Sean Connery.
So I haven't mentioned it so far, but we keep cutting back to this one scumbum who's been walking around the base in public areas. And the reason why I haven't mentioned it yet is because we only see him walking around. Like nothing is happening whenever you cut to scenes of this guy walking around. It's more to show you mood. It's more to show you like this is what every day looks like here. But clearly we're following this guy because something is going to happen.
He's suspicious.
And finally, in this scene, we see him make a drug exchange. Guy gives the drugs, goes back to his bunk, shoots himself in the leg with the drugs that kind of looks like a gun, right? That they give vaccines to soldiers with.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
I see.
Bruce, how much did this scene bother you? Because I don't know shit all about medical stuff, but like I'm watching this and it's driving me bananas. Because first of all, like look at how like wild and like unviscous whatever they were putting inside of him was. It only does half of the thing. It feels like it ejected so fast into his body that it would have jacked him up for some. What is complete bullshit? I mean, I know they didn't do it, but you know,
space vaping.
I don't know about this. It's
space vaping, man. Come on. There's a point with science fiction where like you got to cut it some slack. So it's better than the eye drops. How many science fiction movies always have their drugs?
Oh man, so many, very many.
No, that's how I could see that an institutional medical facility that would have to maybe inoculate against things you don't encounter on Earth or something would have that equipment around. So that's what
it's not the equipment I care about. It's like why would you inject half? Like put half of the stuff in there. Why you put the whole like you put in 2 doses worth, so to speak?
Were you
at blame least, that on the prop master?
And it looked
were you at least assuaged by the actor's reaction to when the drugs kick in?
It was okay, but
what do you mean when it's okay? His eyes got all big. It was like the old York peppermint patty commercials where when you bite into a York peppermint patty, your eyes get really big.
I was thinking of Ellen Burstyn in Requiem for a Dream, the way that they did like those close-ups of her pupils dilating.
So then we cut back to Connery back at his place, feeling sorry for himself, looking like a real sad sack. And when his second in command shows up, trying to put him in a better mood, he's got some food with him, tells Connery that his wife left him also, and that there's wonderful prostitutes on the base if he wants to bang away his troubles. But Sean Connery, he don't want no hookers, and tells this guy that he needs to be alone for a while. And so that guy takes off. And Connery starts watching the video that his wife had just left him. Always a bad sign when you're just rewatching one of the worst moments of your life. That's a really bad thing to do. When someone, when he gets a call, someone is roughing up one of them wonderful prostitutes that the second just talked about. So Connery grabs his gun, boogies over there. It's a standoff. Guy we saw shooting himself with drugs earlier is holding the lady who does the stuff captive, and Connery comes up with a plan. He's going to send in some people through the air vents like a proto John McClane and take that dude out. Shaw tells the guy if he doesn't kill the girl, he won't get killed. Says he's going to count down from 10, bust open the door. When Connery counts to 1, his second in command jumps down through the air vent, shoots the dude square in the chest. Any notes?
I just want to say that you've probably made a few wrong turns in life if you end up as a space hooker on the moons of Jupiter. I'm just going to say that. I'm not saying she deserved it. All humans deserve to be treated with respect, but she probably upset at least someone who cared about her at least once in her life to get there.
What my neighbor Earl would call a day prostitute.
Yeah.
I think Peter Boyle even like mentions is like, hey, and some of these prostitutes are good looking, okay, or maybe not so bad looking. Or I think it's probably more like hey, they're not. Some of them are okay looking, all right. Give me a break here, but let them do what they do. That's very much his like, hey, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like that's his first day introduction to everybody's like, listen, we want you to uphold the law, but let them do what they want to do out there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Right?
Get her back on that horse, so to speak.
Let me brush the back of my hair, please.
So they take her, they rush her over to Dr. Francis, get a look at her. You know what? She's been beat up pretty bad, but she's going to end up fine. She's going to be fine. And doctor says she's got that report that Connery was looking for, 28 suicides in the last 6 months, 24 suicides in the 6 months before that. But the 6 months before that, 2 suicides. So something's going on at this moon base. And I'll tell you what, Indiana Jones' dad doesn't like it at all.
I like how like flippant they are with it, and then when they do 2 seconds of research, they're like, "Oh yeah, you mean a thing that's been happening forever?" And yeah, oh shit, we forgot about that. You're right. I can't believe you brought that up again.
I just want to add that a drug epidemic in a mining town seems a little prescient to a guy who's lived most of his life in Central Appalachia here.
Listen, they keep them.
Did you live in a mining town?
Yes,
oh.
yes.
Oh,
between Eastland, West Virginia, and Jackson, Kentucky, a couple of mining towns. Monterey, Coal, Arch on the North Fork.
We should just open up every once in a
while. I know it. He's like the Sphinx.
Yeah.
So the big question comes up: where are all these dead bodies? They ship them out, shoot them in space, burial at sea style. And when I die, that's how I want to go out. Burial at sea or shot
sunglasses cased into space like Spock.
Absolutely. But these answers aren't good enough for Connery. He is the marshal. So he finds the body that the guy who just got killed, and he takes a sample of his blood. We learn that there were drugs all in that guy's blood, a synthetic narcotic that can't be produced on the ship. And it makes people do 12 hours worth of work in 6. But if you take it for too long, it's going to make you crazy.
Wow,
So Connery looks to see how many people on the moon base have been arrested for drug-related crimes, tracks them down, cut to a bar where naked people are on a stage pretending to have sex. And I cannot state this enough, the least sexy way humanly possible.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Most people are not equipped to do a lot of we'll call them extracurricular stuff in the bedroom department, as you see in fancy movies and whatnot, right. And sometimes in film and television. Most people don't really work all like that, and this is like the worst version of that. It is and then everybody's like,
style.
They're so excited about the light that they got on them. That must have been new and must have cost a penny. Because they're so happy about using that light and with the little fog in there to make the kind of almost like it's a Star Wars projection, but it's not that. And they're in like leotard almost suits with like little bikini. Like it looks like shit, but it's like in the background enough to where you don't quite see. Which I'm really going to be interested to see what a lot of this movie looks like on the new 4K transfer that's they're doing for Arrow Video. They're rescanning this entire thing for 4K, which it does need. Like it looks pretty good on Blu-ray, but it could look a little bit better. So I'm excited for that, to see some of the things that you don't quite see in this movie, which especially at the beginning when we're kind of falling down some stuff is just like, this is all black. What am I looking at?
So
version's coming soon, kids.
The thing that I can't stand about this scene in particular is that you already know, like when you're seeing the scene, you're like, oh, this is the scene, this is the big nudity scene that they're gonna have in this movie, not just like coincidental shower nudity like you get in RoboCop or whatever. Like this is the big nudity scene, and it's a bummer for this reason alone, is that when you're watching a movie from this time, you do a bit of a trade-off, right? You're going to have to dodge racism and homophobia and sexism, but you get nudity, right? That's the trade-off. Yeah. And so when you see this scene, I was like, oh man, this sucks. Like I'm deducting 2 points from this movie because this is the only nudity for disappointing nudity.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, I hate to think all the points I've lost over the years.
It's supposed to be the sexy part of the movie, but is not that at all. It's just like you look at it's like two people that look like Doug Jones trying to have sex on a stage, and you're like, what's happening here?
Right. Right. And so Connery's watching all this on a monitor, by the way. Like he's just watching all of this stuff on the monitor. And he sees his second in command talking with a couple of drug dealers, known drug dealers, and also talking with Peter Boyle. And so the next day, Connery and his second are playing racquetball.
Future racquetball.
Oh, I love this racquetball court.
And he confronts his second, who admits to all the shady dealings. We learn that this conspiracy goes all the way to the top. And so now, not only do we have a space mystery, but we got ourselves a space conspiracy also. And it's literally at this point in the movie where I start getting mad at myself for never hearing about this movie until like at the beginning of this year. Like it sucked that I was like, this movie has been out here the entire time and no one told me about this.
Oh man. I do, you know, in addition to being coal miners, a couple of my uncles were also sheriff's deputies. And one thing I will say that law enforcement and miners have in common is a deep love of racquetball. So it's appropriate that, you know, in the limited, they don't have a ton of space here. You know, we're not going to build a bowling alley. We're not going to put in some pool tables or darts. Racquetball is where space miners and space sheriffs want to spend their time. But I do like it's got almost a quasi-Tron style of play. I think you have to hit it wherever the lights light up.
Yep.
I like how they probably ended up selling this with it's just like, this is a graph of racquetball courts right now. If we continue on in this trajectory, we know that so far in the future, racquetball will not only be still a very relevant sport, but one that is advanced to such a level that we even want that shit on spaceships, homie. That's how big racquetball is going to go. Put it in the movie.
You know, I could have sworn that I would have figured that West Virginia miners were squash players, but
you know, there's no racquetball for us squashies.
I lie in the summer.
Badminton in the summer, my friend. Badminton.
So the scum bum we've been watching walk around the base for a while. Connery gets into a foot chase with this guy, and this is really the secret weapon of the movie, right? Because this is where you really get a scope for how big this moon base is, and you get to see all of the production design in its glory. And you got to duck for this scene. I would absolutely be like, this is the banger scene in the movie as an art department guy, just because it is so impressive, because it doesn't feel like you're running around a warehouse. It literally feels like you're on a moon base. It's really, really cool that way.
There's upward motion, there's downward motion. We're going in every way. You're seeing how everything is connected, so it doesn't feel like you're going to a lot of different sets and whatnot. It feels like they made these huge giant sets and stuff, and we're running from one location to another. So you're really seeing how it all connects, and just making it a very real thing. And that is like everything from the lockers that they're opening up in the room at the beginning and stuff. Everything is just designed to such a high level that it builds this world and has you believe that you're on this spaceship, you know, so much so. It's fantastic.
It really is. It's so impressive because the scope of these sets, it really shows you how much they've done in this chase scene specifically. And I would say to you that this is one of the greatest moments in 1981 cinema. If it weren't for the fact that the guy they hired to play Connery's stuntman is 25 years younger than him. He doesn't look anything like Sean Connery. And so you can feel like stuntman, Connery, stuntman. Like it is so jarring, especially today, because they just don't do things like that anymore in movies, which is for the better. I know that we complain all the time about, you know, modern movie making. They got that part right. Good job by you, modern movie makers, because it is so jarring to see, well, that's a 22-year-old guy who they got playing Sean Connery right now.
We're only a few years removed from an era where Brad Pitt was the stunt double for Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, it just happened.
So at the end of this foot race, Scumbum, Shaw, and Sean Connery, getting into an good old fashioned brawl in the kitchen. And it's Sean Connery in a fight scene. And I'll give you a guess whether or not Sean fucking Connery wins this fight at the end.
He wins
just by a hair, as always.
So we then cut to a scene.
I'm sorry, you skipped over it, but I just like the moment within that fight scene within the kitchen, which is all cool. The part where I'm just like I'm flabbergasted is when the guy throws the stuff in the pot of boiling oil, and Sean Connery just goes in with his bare ass hand to pick it out. What the fuck is wrong with you?
All I know
we're in quite a raised, elevated situation here where passions are running deep and everything. You're in a big giant fight. But what in God's green earth made you think that your hand in a giant vat of boiling oil was the smart thing to do? And why do we never talk about the consequences of said act later?
The director should stand accused of maldirectorship, because he's the one who has to step in and say this makes no sense. I really wanted like an Arnold style one-liner where he shoved the guy's face in the burner and said, "You've been fried."
Yeah, you could have like tossed it at his face and then like had the thing like roll to the ground or something. Like he goes in fist first. What are you great? Oh my God. And then we do fight, and within the scene, I do love how like literally his head is right beside the fryers that are literally frying French fries. It's hilarious. I just don't know why that's so damn funny, but I'm like, they're baking French fries on this spaceship,
and you know darn good and well in a situation like that where you got to fly your crap a year in space, that it's all frozen and freeze dried, and they got some microwave convection oven thing. But boy, I love that they have fryers in this guy's vision. It's all astronaut ice cream in real life. All astronaut ice cream.
No, we frying Twinkies up in space here. We don't give a damn. All right, go on. Next thing. I'm sorry.
So we get to my favorite scene in the movie. The next scene is my favorite scene in the movie, where we see the scum bum in this moon base's version of jail. It is my favorite thing in the movie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They put the guy in a spacesuit, put him in an airlock, and they turn off the gravity.
And why? Because it looks cool. That's why. It's literally why.
And so they got this guy floating there in this small room, and instead of rotoscoping him or green screening him or any sort of effect, they have the actor suspended in midair, and they make him hold out his arms and legs so that it looks like he's floating. It's kind of like this, like he's doing this. And I keep in mind, I am not complaining. This is a feature, not a bug. It is amazing. But seeing him there, and they're holding him in there indefinitely, it raises questions immediately. Like, how does this guy poop? How does he eat? How easy is it to hose out that spacesuit at the end? Because it's not like they're going to have infinite spacesuits on this place.
Doesn't it take like a lot more resources and everything than it would just sitting this man in a cell?
Right.
Yeah, also, it's like there's way too much work for it. And it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but
it's been established they have the technology to put people in suspended animation for a year to do the trip. So why not just like is it Demolition Man, or that's how they store their prisoners? Is suspended animation?
Yeah, suspended animation.
You can learn how to crime better.
So Connery starts asking this guy questions, and he isn't talking at all. And so Connery turns to his second in command guy. He goes, "No one talks to him. You understand? No one." And he leaves. And he walks into Peter Boyle's office. And as someone who only knows Peter Boyle from Young Frankenstein and Everyone Loves Raymond and Johnny Dangerously, I totally underestimated just how good an actor Peter Boyle actually is, because he's great in this scene. Like this scene here where Connery confronts him, he wants to know how much money Connery wants to be paid off. And Connery tells him he's not in it for the money. And Boyle asks what he does want. And Connery says, "You." And I can't state enough here is that we're watching two like old school guys square up. And it's basically the like late 60s, early 70s version of Morpheus and Neo fighting. except it's not a computer simulation. There's no kung fu, and it's missing the sexual heat Lawrence Fishburne brings to every scene. But Peter Boyle tells Connery he isn't some super cop. He's got a big mouth that's gotten him in trouble before. I mean, it's the same. This is like beat for beat what happens in High Noon. Like, you've been in trouble. That's why you're out here in the middle of nowhere, is because you were a problem instigator before. We know your deal. We know why you're out here. And it's almost like word for word, sort of the same scene as that scene in High Noon. And it's kind of interesting to see like, okay, so now you're bringing in High Noon elements, because High Noon isn't in this movie until basically that scene, where it's like, now we're going to start moving away from Alien, and we're going to start moving away from 2001, and it's going to be High Noon now.
But instead of getting married, your wife is leaving you.
Yes, well, I mean, that happened, at the beginning of Act 1. But,
and I'd say a teeny tiny bit of Shootout at the OK Corral, the Wyatt Earp story. I feel like Dr. Lazarus, who we haven't really mentioned, is a little bit of a Doc Holliday in her own way.
A little bit, yes. Yes. And so this scene ends with Peter Boyle making a vague threat to Connery. It's just... I just lost my place. Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go.
Talking about the vague threat.
Right. So he makes a vague threat where, like, you can say it. You say it in a way where Connery, if he were to report this guy, people would be like, "What are you talking about? Like, that's not threatening at all. Like, that's the way that he leaves it." My ex-wife used to be great at that, by the way. Like, just saying things where, like, they're like, "Wait a second. What did you mean?" But you'd have to go back.
It won't be admissible at all.
So Connery goes back to talk to Scumbum again, but when he gets to the airlock, we find he's been murdered. Someone cut his breathing tube, and guess what? He also exploded. Now we'll never learn how that guy was going to poop. So Connery goes back to his second in command's place, gives him the what for, only he's also been murdered. People are dropping like space flies on this moon base. So much has happened in this movie, and this is why I told you guys that we need to like speed up stuff. We're only at the hour mark right now of this film.
This is a 4-hour feature, everybody.
That's literally like, come on, let's keep moving. Okay, so I know that I've been praising the hell out of Outland, but now we're at the dumbest scene in the movie, because Connery gets a confidential email, and it tells him that there's probably drugs in a food shipment that have arrived. And he goes to the meat locker to track down the drugs. He walks into the freezer, where you're thinking to yourself, well, surely they're just going to lock him in there until he freezes and dies, right? No, you're wrong. Because what ends up happening is Connery's snooping around looking at all this hanging meat. Dude comes up behind him and starts choking him with wire. The guy takes down Connery, and this drug dealer who looks like a fat Kevin Bacon walks up to this big slab of beef and about to tear into it when Connery gives him the old William Wallace. And Sir James Douglas. And
anytime you get Sean Connery and hanging meat in a room together, you know trouble's going to happen.
Well, it's just so ridiculous. Just lock him in the damn freezer. He'll freeze to death, for God's sake. You leave him in there long enough. It's so stupid.
Have you ever seen a Three's Company episode? They get out of that.
So how does Sean Connery survive this scene? He just got choked out. Here's why it's so dumb. It turns out that Connery had a protective collar around his neck the whole time. That's why it stopped him from being garroted. Which means
all space cops have that?
It's so stupid. It means that not only did Sean Connery know that someone was going to try to kill him by strangulation, but they would also try to do it in the meat locker. It's just so stupid. The scene is just so dumb.
This is my personality lends to a lot of people wanting to choke me. So
is that why like priests wear those things, Sean, so they don't get choked from behind? Or
no, I think that they tighten it throughout the day, so because it gets them down.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
This is the only way that I can make that happen. So Connery grabs the drugs from the meat and immediately heads back to Peter Boyle's office, where he's playing golf on a golf simulator. And it's another one of those scenes where you're like, is this the first golf simulator?
Maybe.
Because it wouldn't be for another 10 years before something like this shows up in real life, because I looked this up too.
Well, it looks so stinking accurate. I didn't even stop to think about the timeline. I'm like, yeah, well, they just went and got a Topgolf set up. But yeah, you're right. This is 20 years before Topgolf.
Right.
The interesting, like, kind of zoom in once the ball gets hit and everything, when it brings them up to the next point. I kind of like that. I was just
right. And I'm wondering if maybe them doing this in this movie made somebody in real life go, "Oh, yeah, that
son
makes
of a
sense.
bitch, man, get on this."
Oh,
We should
Outland,
totally do that.
The most influential movie you've never heard of. That's what we could have called this.
So Connor, now it's Connery's turn to make threats to Peter Boyle. Oh, it's not vague; it's right in your face, and he says it. And the only line read he has in this entire movie, where he sounds like the dragon from Dragonheart, he says, "You're a dead man," and he says it with all the balls in the world. It's the only line read he has in this entire movie that's like that. It's we cut to the next scene, which is the second most unbelievable part of the movie, where Connery's character splices into Peter Boyle's personal feed by himself, no help from anyone else, which is the dumbest thing. It's the second dumbest thing in this movie. No one believes that Sean Connery is able to work the AV equipment on this tub to do the things that he wants it to do. It's ridiculous.
I was originally going to be the hacker in Jurassic Park. Did you know that? Going to be me.
But because this thing that Sean Connery, I'm sorry, Bruce, go ahead.
Oh, I had nothing to say.
Oh, okay. But because Sean Connery did this thing that Sean Connery or a Sean Connery character could never do by themselves, we learn that Peter Boyle, from Peter Boyle's perspective, that the corporations hired some hitmen to take out Sean Connery. And not only that, but Peter Boyle's got a guy on the inside of the police department that's going to help. But the guy at the corporation warns Peter Boyle, if this gets any worse, things are going to go very bad for Peter Boyle.
Oh, ho, ho.
And he's already got that hair loss, so you can only imagine.
You're going to end up in Queens for the rest of your life, Mr. Boyle.
So Sean Connery then does what I think any one of us would do in the situation he finds himself in. He immediately goes to the space saloon, where the second he walks in, everyone stops what they're doing and turn around because they all work for Peter Boyle.
The space record, almost like you can almost hear it scratch this as he walks in. It's like, oh, what the hell?
I call that kind of bar entrance the anti-norm.
Yes, anti-norm.
Ooh.
Go to hell as he walks in the door. So Sean asks his new second, because now that Sean Connery's second in command is dead, he needs to get a new second in command guy. Who's played by Clark Peters. And I think that this is his first movie. He was in The Wire. He's in John Wick. He set himself up as the distinguished old black guy for any movie that Morgan Freeman has turned down. Anyway, Connery asked him if anyone in the department could be trusted. He says no. Connery asks him point blank, "Can I trust you?" Clark Peters says no. And we are 50 hours away from when the murder of hitmen are coming to the base, which I now deem that is the plural of hitmen is a murder of hitmen. It just makes sense.
Is it only 2 hitmen? Did I misunderstand?
It's many, many, many hitmen.
Okay, that's much better. Because at one point I thought, well, if it's only 2, that's pretty lame. Like, if you're
wait a minute. No, it is 2, but you don't know who the 2 are. Okay. Because they're showing up with the new miners. That's what
I felt like they should have, if you're going to put the effort in to go more than one, go at least a solid half dozen.
What if they were both wearing Groucho glasses to try to
you don't know who I am. I could be anyone. So they do a really good job of ratcheting up the tension in the next few scenes. Like, it really is very well directed. You can feel the time passing quickly. And Connery just waiting for those hours for the hitman to show up. Connery plays racquetball again, as we know. That's just what he loves.
Hey, you built that racquetball set. By God, you're going to get some use out of it.
The lady doctor shows up asking, asking what, people keep trying to get in touch with me. Sorry, guys. Doctor shows up asking him why he's doing what he's doing. Why doesn't he just leave? And Connery gives us a pretty good speech about how he wants to see if everyone's right about him. Like, is he going to play the same role he's expected to and look the other way like he's done so many times before? Or can he be the good man just once?
It is that high noon kind of thing. Where
Right.
Like, hey, listen, I'm questioning whether or not I should do this, but like I know this is what I have to be doing.
Right. And so the lady I know is Cliff Clavin's mom asks if he wants to get drunk, and he's Sean Connery, so he says yes. And some time passes, and Connery sets up some cameras at various parts of the base so we can see what's happening, and we know there's 10 hours left. Keep moving.
The
Yep.
doctor's name is Lazarus, the lady doctor. Then I just think it's a great name for a doctor. Just
It is.
Lazarus, the figure from the old Bible story, somebody coming back from the dead. That's your name. You kind of got it's like if your name's Dr. Bone Cutter. You're born, your last name's
Sure.
Bone Cutter. You're at least going to
Sure.
try to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Right. It's like if your name is Edward Nigma, you're probably going to be the Riddler.
Exactly.
So Connery goes back to his space apartment when his bummer of a wife calls him on the video phone again. And wouldn't you know it, she's being a major bummer again.
She's almost like when she starts the call, don't you for like half a second think he's replaying the phone call again?
Yes.
I did.
She's so damn boring, and like she's already like, I was like, oh Jesus, we're starting this car again? Get out of here, dude.
Yeah, and she's asking him questions like, do you think what you're doing is making a difference? And is what you're doing worth giving up your family for? And she puts the dumb kid actor back on the screen, and the kid calls him daddy, which is super weird because he's like 11.
I'll give you an excuse never to get back home. Here you go. Talk to this kid. Don't you want to come back to us? It's like, shit, maybe not.
And here's the thing is that Connery's really acting his ass off in this scene.
He tried so hard.
And it's so betrayed by the kid actor. Like it makes it look kind of goofy how hard he's acting.
He's sitting like this, where he's kind of hunched over and his like chin is out, and he's looking real like a dumbass kid actor. It's really, really bad.
He kind of seems like a kid that's being forced to do this. Maybe it wasn't really his passion.
Yeah,
But
like it looked like his audition tape, and they were just like, "Fuck it, we'll use that."
Bruce, he worked until 2016. Like
I'm telling you what it looks like.
No,
looks
I know.
can be
You're right.
deceiving.
You're totally
saying
right.
They made him love it.
Oh, I see.
They made him like by his fifth feature, he was just like, you know what? It's actually the craft I enjoy the most.
I'd say your family makes you act, and then the day you turn 18 and you don't have to do what they tell you to anymore, you're not well suited for a career in the trades. So maybe you just keep doing it for a little while till you figure things out.
Well, you can't do any math, that's for damn sure.
Now that I'm 18, it's off to HVAC.
So we see Connery hide a gun. We see him do that, hide a shotgun. And we see the time ticking. And the movie does a great job. The shuttle shows up earlier than we think, earlier than Sean Connery thinks. It's a really great moment where I was like, how long is this going to take? And then bam, shuttle's there. It's really well done.
It's the most unbelievable part of the whole thing. The plane shows up early, bullshit. Especially come on now.
I'm so grateful that they didn't just make us sit and wait for a few minutes. I mean,
it's great. It's really great that it goes down the way it does. And then this is, again, we're watching High Noon. Connery starts asking people to help him, and no one's willing to help. And one bald guy with giant chops who looks like Martin Van Buren says, "Help you? You're supposed to protect us. Where are your men?" And then Connery responds with the line, "My men are shit."
Well, half of them are dead, so I mean, at least they're bad.
We get a great look at the miniatures of the moon base as the ship lands, and you don't believe for a second that a ship is actually landing, but it looks really cool. It's like
they're really trying to 2001 it up. It's kind of cute.
It's a little bit like Space 1999, the television show. When you see the miniatures on that show, and you're like, "Oh, that's adorable." Those toys are set up like it's a space, like it's a moon base. This is cool. But they ratchet up the tension even more as we watch a ship land. Connery gets ready. We see him loading guns. We see him running back to the police station that's completely empty. And by the way, we watch the elevator descend from the ship to the base with what we assume are this giant group of hitmen. And a ton of dudes get out of the elevator. And I start to get really excited because I'm like, oh, holy shit, this elevator is just chock-a-block full of hitmen. But it turns out that most of those guys are just there to work. And there's only 2 guys they sent, not a ton of guys, 2 hitmen.
It's not the hallway scene in Old Boy, which would have been like amazing.
Right.
You know?
Sean Connery with a hammer.
I was hoping for a little more John Wick, a little less Home Alone.
So, and here's another thing too, which lets you know that this movie was made in 1981, which is the hitmen very stupidly, as they're getting off the elevator, their guns are like, you can see them as they're walking by the video. It's almost like they're like showing the guns to the video, to the video camera. It's a very bad moment. And now we get to my least favorite part of Outland. And it's the hitmen in this movie who are supposed to be the best of the best. They're supposed to be hired hitmen, and these guys are morons. They're idiots. Because Sean Connery takes out the first guy by depressurizing a spacewalkway, totally taking out one of the hitmen by surprise, which seems like something that maybe a space hitman would be looking out for.
And they ain't what they used to be, you know?
And then Connery takes out the other hitman by making him shoot out a window, which kills the other hitman instantly. And if these are the best space hitmen money can buy, Peter Boyle has been ripped off.
I do like how, number one, our greenhouse is literally green. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
But it's stupid, but him getting shot out of the window is still kind of cool.
It's very cool. It's a good visual. A movie like this needs a nice visual near the end. I think it works. I think it was the right call. I mean,
you're right. It could have been, and like,
so we cut then to Peter Boyle, who's been. Oh, I'm sorry. No, while all of this is happening, while Sean Connery is taking out these hitmen, we keep cutting back and forth to Peter Boyle, who's sitting at the bar, just getting drunker and drunker, and he looks more and more worried as time passes. And we think everything is over until, guess what? Clark Peters shows back up and takes a couple of shots at Connery right there in space. But Sean Connery gets the drop on him, pulls his airline, drops him into the bowels of the IO space station, killing him. And after some time, Connery walks into the crowded, busy bar that Peter Boyle's been hanging out at, walks up to him, knocks him right the hell out because he's Sean damn Connery.
Oh, yeah.
Connery and the doctor have one last scene together where they now have a grudging respect for one another. And the movie ends the way all good movies end, with the main character writing an email to his wife. He tells her he's going back to Earth with her. The end.
Leave the light on for me, honey. I'm coming home. That extra ticket that you bought just for happens to. Like, do you want this man to? She's got so many mixed emotions and different. You know, like, I hate this lady. She's terrible. And then the kid don't make things no better.
This movie's a real real gem, a real treasure, a lot of fun. But the unsung hero of this movie is Peter Boyle's beard, because without that beard, he just isn't pulling that character off.
Probably
I was thinking it was his eyebrows, because they were a little like wild and kind of crazy there at some point, and like it feels like somebody was just sort of went and like just kind of smoothed him out a little bit for him at some point.
I don't think I've ever seen Peter Boyle look as manly as he does in this movie.
A couple of things that I found out about this movie. Both Clint Eastwood and Bruce Dern were considered for the Connery role, and I believe they even asked Clint Eastwood, and he turned it down.
Both would be interesting, different takes for sure.
I think Eastwood's too on the nose if you're redoing a Western.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Movie cost $16 million, ended up grossing $17 million. So it barely made the money back. Cinematographer on this movie was Stephen Goldblatt. He was the DP on a couple of the Lethal Weapon movies, and also Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Pretty crazy. Also,
great score.
Also, finally, I watched the Siskel and Ebert review of Outland, as I love to do on movies around this era. Siskel gave it a thumbs down. He thought the villains behaved like idiots, but Ebert gave it a thumbs up. And they both thought Sean Connery was great in it.
Yeah, he was pretty good. What did you guys think about, like, and just from a little production thing here, the lights on the helmet and stuff? Because I think Alien had to be the first movie that really put the lights in the helmet so we could, illuminate the actors' faces so we could really see what was going on in those helmets. Because otherwise, they were just kind of, glazed over helmets and everything.
Right.
This has, like, instead of like one line, we've got like little globes and stuff like that because they got to differentiate themselves. But I would say for what it is, it doesn't look too bad.
No, it looks great.
It looks kind of heavy. Looks a little heavier than you want your helmet to be, but I understand it's for a movie making purposes, not for space navigation purposes.
Yeah, because you put those lights in your eyeballs. It's just like that's not going to help you do anything in space. It's just like you're just like, hey, just put a bunch of lights towards my eyes.
You're trying to shoot somebody against a true black background, and you start shining lights on a glass mask. It's just like a mirror. You can put anybody in there. So I understand why they need that backlight.
But yeah, it's like over. Okay, let's get to our final scores and grades. Well, not grades. They're stars. I don't care what it is. Bruce, what is your rating and recommendation for Outland from 1981?
This was a movie that really, really surprised me in the best possible way.
Good.
I had a whole lot of disappointment with Muppets from Space. I really just wasn't into high life. Apollo 13, I knew what I was getting into, so there was no way to be surprised by that. But this is the movie that probably saves the month for me.
Nice.
Really enjoy it. At the end of the day, to me, it's kind of like a father realizes what's important to him. That's sort of the take home on this. Great remake, visits a lot of good tropes. So it's like a buffet where you can get a little bit of Japanese food and a little bit of Mexican food. Who doesn't love a buffet like that?
Yeah, because those are always the highest quality foods at those buffets. It's just like the ones that do all of them. That's when they're the best. Sean?
Shrimp around the corner.
I love this movie. Clearly, I do. I'm giving it 4 open backhands. 4 Sean Connery open backhands.
I gave it 4 stars. I never gave it a rating. 4 stars.
This movie is very dear to me. Although you have to, if you're going to recommend this movie to folks, you have to know the company that you're keeping. They're somebody who's really into the Fast and Furious movies is going to hate this movie.
Yeah, you do need the caveat going into this to know that you're looking at kind of, and you'll know in the first 10 minutes of the program whether or not you're going to be into it. But it takes a minute to get there and to get going and stuff. And it's a movie that decides to take its time, not in a bad way, but it does take its time to get to what it's doing. And again, he's Peter Hyams is really trying to like channel a little bit of Ridley Scott and a little bit of Stanley Kubrick in here, and he's doing a pretty good job aping him for the time and money and everything that he's got at his disposal and stuff. He's doing a pretty good job of it. But yeah, it is a little bit slow, and ultimately, I'm going to go like 3 out of 5 for me. It's good. It's a recommendation, I think, for most people. Should watch it, especially if you're a Connery fan, and the most that of Connery's probably your James Bonds and whatnot. So check out something. It's James Bond in space, but he's not putting on some sort of fake accent or anything, so you don't have to worry about any of that crap. He's just Sean Connery in space, and that's why we've been referring to him as Sean Connery and not his dumbass space name in this movie, because he's Sean Connery. Damn it,
because nobody cares. It's Sean Connery.
Yeah, get out of here. It's like who cares? League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. What was his name in that? You don't know. It's Sean Connery. Damn it, that's what he's doing in that.
No, everybody knows his name in that. It's Alan Quartermain.
Shut up, everybody. All right. Anyways, so that's 3 out of 5 stars for me, and that is the end. Everybody, we have come to the conclusion of Sean Love Spaceships September. Shawnee, was it everything you hoped for and more?
I have to give this go round of Sean Love Spaceships 5 stars. I really had a great time this month. It really was fun for me. I don't know how fun it was for you guys, but for me, it was super, super fun.
It was other than the one show where my microphone was absolutely dead and stuff. that burned me inside. But that was just that wasn't our fault per se. That was other technology's fault. I'll say that. Next week We are starting up another month, everybody, and as such, we are starting with yet another theme. And it is spooky season, and we're going into spooky season doing a little something different because everybody's going to go for your main, your big kind of Halloween horror stuff like that. Those are all your regular go-tos, but we're going to the sequels. That's right, the movies that didn't always quite work out as well as previously planned, or maybe sometimes they did. And we're going to find out how those movies differed from their previous past and set themselves up sometimes for movies and stuff in the future. And we're going to start that all off with Sweet Chauncey's choice of Jaws 2. Well, you saw him get killed at the end of Jaws 1. How in the hell are they going to have a secondary Jaws? Well, we're going to talk about that and all kinds of other fun, frightening stuff come this next month here and everything. And if you'd like to know what all of those movies are going to end up being, why don't you head over to patreon.com/HMP, pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone, and where you'll find out all this kind of cool information ahead of time. In the meantime, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I'm still putting stuff up on TikTok, and my Patreon has a video review up there for the folks who want to go check that out. I know a couple of folks have already seen it. I don't quite remember the name of my Patreon, but go to patreon.com and look for Bruce Leslie. You should find it. That's it. I'll have more stuff to talk about next week.
Indeed. Sean?
I am on YouTube, and I am on what's it called? Podcast, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm on that too. Check those out.
We'll have links to all of those fun things in the show notes, and continue to like and subscribe over there on the YouTubes. Hit that hype button. We really love all of you. Thank you so very much for that. And hopefully we'll see you back here next week when we do this yet again. That is it, everybody. Join us next week for Jaws 2 for Sweet Chauncey Kovacs from the internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Porteous, reminding you to go to space. It pooped it on the second one. What the hell is that about?